What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your guy, Hit the keys. And in today's video, we're gonna talk about if Bobbi Althoff is good for hip hop or not. Make sure if you guys do like this content though, you drop a whole elbow on that like button, hit subscribe and that notification bell so every time we bring you guys a new video, you can be the first to see. With no further delay, let's get right into this video, baby. Hit the key. All right, guys, so I'm pretty sure most of you guys know who Bobbi Althoff is by now. She has a podcast called The Very Good Podcast. Spoiler alert, it's not very good. Lately, she has blown up all over the internet and she's been getting interviews from people like Drake, Mark Cuban, Lil Yachty, Tyga, etc., etc. But she literally came out of nowhere and she has like 10 podcasts. It seems like she really is like an industry plant, even though she says that she's not. How you gonna interview Drake on like your 5th interview? Drake don't do interviews from anybody. And so today's video, I wanna talk about whether she's good for the hip hop community and, you know, should we be watching her content and supporting her, or if we should be trying to get these artists on different platforms. So basically, her whole shtick is she plays a character on these podcasts. So she's super dry. She tries to act like she's super nervous and she makes the interviews very awkward. So she's not the first person to do this. She probably won't be the last person to do this. But the interviews always feel like they're being carried by the artist. So it feels like the artist is basically interviewing her and interviewing herself. And it's like with this shtick, it's like she continuously says the same things over and over in every podcast. So what I want to do today is look at a couple clips from some of these podcasts. And you know what I'm saying? We can decide if this is something that we should have in the culture or if we need to cancel Bobbi ASAP. So I'm going to go ahead and play this first clip. And I do want to let you guys know with everybody she talks to, she's always asking for some money. She's always asking for somebody to buy her something. She's always asking everybody how much money they have. So we're going to start right there with Drake in one of his interviews. And I'm just going to run a few different clips and then we'll discuss it from there.
No, not really. I mean, like, but
Why?
that's a cool memento.
How much money do you have?
A significant amount.
How much?
Guess.
Could you buy me a Lamborghini right now?
I do have myself.
Yeah, you have a lot of money.
It depends what's a lot of money to you.
Can I have $40,000?
To do what with?
I just want $40,000. Do you have a lot of money?
I feel like I have a fair amount that I work hard for.
Well, what's your type?
Just men with a lot of money.
That's it?
Yeah.
What kind? X? Y?
No, the cheapest one.
Which is a...
Model 3. Yeah, sorry, I can't afford the nicest one. If you want to buy that from me, I would be happy to accept that.
So as you guys can see there, it's like every single episode, she's asking somebody for some money, which I guess it was funny the first couple times you see it, but then after you see it for a while, it's like, come on, girl, you got to come up with some new material. I want to hear about some hip hop questions. I want to hear about something that has to do with the art, which takes us to the next topic is she acts like she doesn't know who these people are. So it's like, why would you interview Drake if you don't know who Drake is? Like she pretends like she's never heard Drake's music. She pretends like she didn't know who Tyga is. She pretends like she doesn't know what Lil Yachty's music is. So let's go ahead and look at some clips of her perpetrating like she doesn't know who the artist is that she's interviewing, which is insane, especially when you're interviewing Drake and you're a 24-year-old girl.
Do you think I'm bad at rapping?
I've never
What's
heard
your favorite? What?
Hmm.
You've never heard what?
Maybe on the radio, your music.
What?
Any of your music.
Okay, so do like you've never heard. You were gonna say you've never
Any
heard
of your
a Drake
music?
song
No.
ever.
Not that I can
never
think of.
heard a Drake song.
Can you sing one?
No, but like I'm just asking you, like, are you gonna be one of like those people who's like, I've never heard you before?
Not that I would recognize. Like, oh, that's
What?
Drake.
You know what I'm saying? So right there, that's so disrespectful. How are you going to act like you don't know who Drake is and you've never heard a Drake song? She's 20-something years old. Everybody's heard a Drake song. If you're under 50, you've heard a Drake song. That's what I mean by should we let her into the culture? Because it's like, to me, as somebody who's just watching it, it's like this interview is just like a clusterfuck of just nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a boring interview, and as you're watching, I can't stress enough, the artists are leading the interview. Lil Yachty basically made her interview. And then when you watch the Tiger interview, it's only a half hour long because it's a trash interview. Like, they're sitting in a zoo and they're literally talking about a porcupine for like 10 minutes. So 10 minutes of the interview is them talking about this porcupine trying to get, it's stupid. And then there's like another 6 or 7 minutes where they're just playing with a fan. It's a bunch of awkward silence. So it's like, it doesn't even seem like it's awkward silence because it's a stick. It seems like it's awkward silence because she doesn't know how to initiate conversations like that. And that's not really how she is. I'm going to show you the real Bobbi Althoff here at the end of the video. So stick with me because I got some fire that y'all might not have seen these clips. But we'll go ahead and go to her disrespecting Tyga and acting like she doesn't know who Tyga is.
What's your favorite Tyga song?
Was he married to Kylie Jenner? Is that the guy that dated him? He
I
dated
mean,
Kylie
like,
Jenner.
Like, yeah, maybe like before like the iPhone or something. Like, that's such ancient
Does
gossip.
he sing?
Huh?
He raps, he sings?
Yeah, what's your favorite Tyga song?
I don't know who that is.
You want me to play you some Tyga right now?
No?
I'm about to.
Okay.
So disrespectful. And then she interviews him later. And again, I get it's a stick, it's an act, but it's like, if you knew Tyga dated Kylie Jenner or one of the Jenners, I'm not sure if it was Kylie or Kendall, because that's not what I paid attention to, but you know he's a rapper. I know you've heard Rack City. I know you've heard Taste. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know you've heard those songs. I mean, everybody's heard them songs. They was on the radio for so long. So then when she gets Tyga on there, then she starts disrespecting him, talking about, do you want to be my assistant? And she disrespects freaking Lil Yachty, talking about she was doing him a favor for doing the podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and run those clips back to back so you can check them out.
Maybe I can be like a good advisor, but
You could be a good assistant.
I don't think so.
Anyone can do whatever they want.
True.
Do you want to be
No,
my
I don't
assistant?
want to be an assistant.
Why?
So that's why I won't be.
You don't want to
good
be
assistant.
an assistant, but you'll be mine. If I text you tomorrow and I'm like, hey, can you have someone come pick up my dry cleaning? What will you say back?
I probably wouldn't text you back.
So obviously, again, I mean, this has nothing to do with hip hop or anything. It's just weird. You know what I'm saying? It's just weird energy in my personal opinion. So I got another one here with Lil Yachty. Let's go ahead and run that one up real quick.
Can we pretend that you asked to be here and I didn't send that message?
Nope.
Please?
Nope.
We can just cut out the part where you used that whole story. We can start this at like I said. So when you reached out to me,
Nope, this is me doing you a favor.
no,
We about-
this is me doing you a
I'm
favor.
about to boost your career.
No, I'm about to boost your podcast. Yours is struggling. Mine isn't.
I did. I got 400,000 views, 10 hours. My episode yesterday.
I mean, you see that right there? She's like basically insulting him, talking about his podcast is struggling. He just started. It got 400,000 views in just a couple hours, 10 hours. But she's literally a plant. She's literally a plant. You know what I'm saying? Like, her podcast blew up because she had Drake on there. She went from having 6,000 followers to 2.2 million followers in like 3 weeks because she's interviewed Drake, Lil Yachty, Tiger, and Mike Cuban. So then Drake invites her out to a concert so that she can hear his music and see him perform. And then this is how she ends up acting at the concert. And this is what she posts on Instagram. Like, this is cool. Like, this is a good look. She's trying to play the character again. But again, you're at a Drake concert and this is how you're going to act. So she's just standing there acting like she's not into the show while all her homegirls are going crazy. To me, that is nonsense. I'm going to show you guys some clips of Bobbi doing somebody else's podcast, and she's not in stick. She's being herself, and this shit is wild to me.
After I had you on my podcast, you were like, oh, I'm going to have you on mine. And people kept saying that, oh, you should have Bobbi on your podcast. And you didn't ever get me on it. But the second I finally start to take off, who calls me? You.
Question.
Yeah. I called you for help.
Did I help you? Did I help you?
Sort of. That's not the point.
You're
trying to be funny, but
No, I'm being sincere because because at the end of our podcast, and now here's where I'm going to be like, well, you want to play your games, then I have receipts. Because at the end of the podcast that we did, you said to me, you had like a little bit of a off energy. And I said, that was funny. You said, really? I said, yeah. You're like, oh, I thought you were really mad at me. A lot of people think of me as a comedian, but I'm starting to, people know also I'm an award-winning dramatic actor, and I love playing that kind of stuff.
Award-winning?
Yeah.
Like, who gave you the award?
The Hollywood Critics Association. The Television Academy.
So that's her on the Rick Glassman podcast. And what's jacked up is he has over 400,000 subscribers. So he helped her out by getting on her podcast and doing an interview. And so now this is where it gets a little bit weird, because her energy is super weird in this next clip and how she's kind of attacking him and taking shots at him. But like a normal person, I'm going to give you a normal person's thoughts when we're done with this clip.
After I had you on my podcast, you were like, oh, I'm going to have you on mine. And you didn't ever get me on it. You didn't make it happen. But the second I finally start to take off, who calls me? You.
I haven't been in LA for 2 months.
Okay. You didn't say come to New York and I'll do it. You could have said that. Don't act like you know what you did. Don't act stupid right now, please.
Okay.
Your podcast is going a little bit downhill.
I could not post this. If you really feel that,
okay,
we could end this and I could not post it.
You don't have to ask a question you know the answer to.
Okay.
Do you have anything else?
Jesus Christ, you're such a
So you see what I'm saying? Like, that was unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? Like, no normal person who, like, let's say I come to LA and I'm there for a day, right? And I got to fly back to New York. Who thinks that you're going to fly to New York when you're just starting off a podcast? You don't have any money. You're going to have to get a hotel. You're going to have to get a flight out there. You're going to have money to get food, transportation, all that other stuff. No normal human being is going to be like, yeah, come on out to New York and do my podcast when you're just starting up, because he did one of her first podcasts. And so it's like, just the tone and all that was just unnecessary. Talking about his podcast is going downhill. She didn't want to return the favor. Now you see how salty she was, talking about like, you know what you did. You only had me on here because I started blowing up. So it's like all that's getting to her head. So that's where it leads me to be like, is she the person that we need giving interviews in the hip hop community? Because as many people know, there has been a ton of people that have gotten their start in the hip hop community. And as soon as they make some money, they get the fuck out of there. So it could be any kind of race. It could be white people, Hispanics, Asians, or whatever. They come into the hip hop community. And I'm not saying that hip hop is only for black people. It's disenfranchised music for disenfranchised people. It's actually a culture. I doubt that she knows what the 5 art forms of hip hop are. If you don't, you should not be representing the culture. So look at all the people in the past. I'll give you guys some examples. Look at Kid Rock. Kid Rock started off as a rapper. He used to open up for Boogie Down Productions. He used to go on tour with Ice Cube. The dude's from Detroit. And now what is Kid Rock doing? He is rocking Confederate flags. He ain't from the South. Rocking Confederate flags. He's a straight Republican and he don't fuck with black people. But without black people, without hip hop, he wouldn't be in the position that he is, because he got signed by Jive. And then all that stuff being signed by Jive hooked him up with different people and put him in the place that he should have, or the place that he got into to switch up his genre and start doing rock and stuff like that. Look at MGK. MGK switched it up. You know what I'm saying? He left hip hop as soon as he could. Look at Christina Aguilera. She wanted to get that little teenage pop off of her, so she went into hip hop. Look at Miley Cyrus. She needed to get that Disney off of her, so she went into hip hop. And then she got out and was like, oh, it's too derogatory. They be talking about too much nasty stuff, all this other stuff. Hip hop been hip hop forever. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say stuff like that. Look at Adam 22 from No Jumper. You know what I'm saying? As soon as he blew up, what did he want to do? He wanted to get away from hip hop, and he started having racist people on his show, and he started doing all this other stuff. Look at Justin Timberlake. He wanted to get that NSYNC off of him, so he went and linked up with Timberlake, and boom, bam, he got all that off of him. And so DJ Vlad out here trying to get people popped and caught up in the law every single day. So what I'm trying to say is, should we let her into the hip hop community? Because in my eyes, I've been seeing this for years. I can give you guys more examples and more examples and more examples, but it's like these people, they invade the culture and then they sponge as much as they can get off the culture, and then they try to blow up. And once they blow up, they leave. So the last thing I want to talk about on this topic is look at the words from her own mouth. So Dave Portnoy, the owner of Barstool Sports, he basically sent her a message. And he's like, my girlfriend says you hooked up with Drake and got a divorce. I am saying it is not true. And this is Bobbi's reply. I am not commenting publicly, but off the record, you're right. That is not true. In the screenshot, she further noted, I did not even want to do the podcast in the first place, and now so much negativity is coming from it. Well, the reason the negativity is coming from it is because of the way that you're portraying these people and the way that you're interviewing these people and how you just blew up, how you are a plant, how you're a plant, and then how you are basically vulturing off of the hip hop community, straight cultural appropriation. And now, you know what I'm saying? You're mad because people are talking about you. How did you not want to do the podcast, but you did a podcast with Drake? Nobody out there can tell me that they don't want to be doing a podcast, but they're doing a podcast. If you don't want to do a podcast, you would not do a podcast because doing a podcast takes a lot of work. Doing content like long form content takes a lot of work. And she's putting in the bare minimum amount of effort, not asking good questions. She's basically making the artist do all the work. So, you know, I know this isn't a typical video that I had on my channel, but I just wanted to talk about this for a minute because I feel like this is trash and she's blowing up. And I feel like there's so many other interviewers out there that could do a good job. I'm not talking about the Joe Buttons. He doesn't deserve the interviews either. That dude be lying. He's a snake. He's a cheater. He's a thief. He's all that stuff. I'm not talking about academics. We ain't calling him Big Act because that dude ain't coming outside. He talks shit about all these people, but he won't come outside. We're not talking about music or Rap Radar because Rap Radar already got an interview with Drake and now he's talking shit like Drake owes him another interview. Drake invited him into his house and he's still talking trash about him. So I'm not talking about them sites, but there are so many other people out here in the hip hop community that are trying to do stuff and trying to put a positive light on these artists. And I feel like those artists need to go to those avenues and they need to do the interviews there. Or if they don't want to do the interviews there, then go to the mainstream and do the stuff with Entertainment Tonight. Do the stuff with Extra. You know what I'm saying? Get on TMZ. Do those interviews. But don't put on these people who are just going to take the culture and they're going to use it for as much as they can. They're going to suck as much as they can out of it. And then they're going to dip. So that's all that I got for you guys today. Make sure if you guys do like this content, though, you drop a whole elbow on that like button. Hit subscribe and that notification bell so every time we bring you guys a new video, you can be the first to see. Appreciate you guys' time as always, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Some, hit the key.